kind of put in 2 minutes today. Nothing really unusual or of note. Any questions? Yeah, I just finished talking about it. Too many fouls there, with the officials here. So before you ever get going, you put yourself in a hole. So it's something that obviously we got to improve on.
Randy had the pick, but then the offense didn't go down and get the field goal. How would you evaluate kind of that sequence?
Yeah, well, we had two different. Typically, we'll do a couple different situations. The first situation was need 7, like minute 58, 2 timeouts. I think the second round, need 3, less time, 1 timeout. There'll be some good and bad when you watch it. Obviously the first roll was difficult because of the penalties. Well, no, I mean, look, there's this, when you get into game planning, right now you put it in like kind of a library of 2-minute calls. When you get into an opponent, in a 2-minute drive, there's generally maybe 2 or 3 calls per drive that are done at the line. The clock stops a lot. And so let's say you have 8 2-minute routes that are in per game. That can vary a little bit. So you kind of find out what the opponent does, and then maybe things that we do, or within the framework of what we do, we think we do well, and put those in. But more than anything, the mechanics of getting the ball to the official, not rolling it on the ground, getting set, if we got to clock it. There's so many other nuances, getting out of bounds, valuing the clock more than 2 yards gained, if that makes sense. You're really understanding we want to move the ball, but the clock is important. And so all of that, we went through it in a walkthrough, and we'll keep working on it.
Jonathan Harris had the pass deflected at the line in the 2-minute. What has he shown so far in camp?
Look, he's a guy that he's opened some eyes a little bit. I mean, it was a good play. I think it's harder for that group just because, we're just getting going. We're getting to the inside run periods. We're getting some of these team runs. But so far, I think he's done a good job.
Coach, when's you saw Adam Gaze out there, or had him out there today?
Yeah.
What do you remember about him?
Well, look, Joe Vitz, his father-in-law. And so we met Adam. I met Adam, I think, way back when he was coaching. I want to say even before here. And then, so we've always had a good relationship. When they had an off week, he'd come by New Orleans, just so his kids could see his grandfather, grandmother. And so I've known him for a long time. And I've known, the success he had here. It's been a while since he's been here, but those guys put up great numbers. And he's now taking care of kids and teaching and taking them to Little League and golfing. So it's good to see him.
You brought in a few.
On pre-snap penalties in camp. How do you work on this? Is it more in the meeting room, on the field?
Well, listen, there's a point at which, you pull the player out then. I mean, so there's an emphasis to it, but it's got to be more than just that, and it's got to go away.
You brought in a couple of your former New Orleans receivers in Callaway and Humphrey. What do they kind of bring to you? What piqued your interest to bring them in?
Yeah, well, they've got size. They understand the offense. They're guys that have played for us for different reasons. Marquez played when Mike Thomas got injured and was out. Little Jordan played quite a bit. He was kind of one of those players on the practice squad that would come up in the event of an injury. So they're familiar with the system. They're big, but they're still getting through it right now. I'm waiting to see something from both of those two guys still, and expecting a little bit more. But just from an experience standpoint.
Sean, how do you balance when players are kind of blowing up practice, defensive linemen or edge guys that are living in the backfield, to be like happy that they're doing what they're doing, but also not letting you get what you want to accomplish on offense?
Yeah, well, look, it's kind of back and forth. You got to stop them in protection. So, look, the drills will have an ebb and flow to them, and that's not unusual for training camp. We just got to keep emphasizing the things that are important. And the thing I mentioned, every game we watch, at the end of every half, there's a 2-minute drill. At the end of every half, someone's in a 2-minute to get a field goal before halftime. maybe a touchdown. And at the end of most games, there's a 2-minute drill because most games are ending, within 7 points. So when the season's over and you look at that cut-up, there's over 120, 130, 150 snaps of 2-minute offense and defense. And there might be 12 snaps of goal line offense and defense. So you got to practice it a little bit proportionately. And it's something that, you kind of, the games are fast and you're in this quite a bit when you look at the course of a game. So I think it's important. It's something that we emphasize and we'll be on the same install schedule tomorrow.
Did you miss coaching the 2-minute drill when you were doing the TV gig? It's the best part of the chess match sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know if I looked strictly at the 2-minute drill. It happens real fast. I think there's some game planning element to the 2-minute, when certainly the clock stops and you have some opportunity. Each defense has got a certain way they defend it, and that can vary, and I'm sure the same goes for the offense. So I liked it better when we were in the 4-minute than the 2-minute, I'll be honest with you. That's what I miss. Yeah, nothing to report.
Did you see DeMarcus Ware sing the national anthem?
I did.
What'd you think?
When he started, I thought, man, where's this going to go? I thought he did a good job. I thought he was into it, right? Yeah, I thought he did a good job. That was, what was the time?
Shorter than Aretha Franklin.
I think it looked like it was going to be short, but then at the end, all of a sudden it got long. He's an amazing guy. He really is. And you guys have all had a chance to work with him. He's impressive, and he still looks like he can play.
Sean, Kendall Hinton is a guy who's managed to stick around ever since his emergency quarterback performance, has carved the role as wide receiver. What do you like about what he brings?
Well, he's got good hips. He's fluid. I think he can change direction pretty well. He does have some football instincts. This is an important camp for him. And, yeah, I mean, he's got a chance to be a slot type of receiver, and that he is smart.
Ben DiNucci looks pretty good. You got a philosophy on keeping 3 to start the season?
No philosophy. We just kind of look at the roster and make decisions based on that team and that year. Yeah, I mean, I like his experience. There's a calmness about him, a little poise. He's played in games and been in, just recently was finished playing a season, so that's why he's here.
You had mentioned in the offseason, like part of the OTAs are kind of like spring training, and then when baseball's in spring training, they reach mile markers with what they want to see, especially from pitchers. Do you see that with your offense? Are there mile markers in camp that you want to see? Because we evaluate daily, it's the nature of the beast, but do you have mile markers?
Yeah, I think, look, you come in off of drills and you see, what are we doing well, what aren't we doing well, and that's every period. And so then specifically when it gets to the preseason, when you're playing a game, all of those things. Yeah, and I think the easier thing for us is to look at what we're doing well and what we're not, and the reason certain things, and then as opposed to the sum total all the time. But I think that, yeah, especially in the red zone, like yesterday's red zone period, was average at best, and so we'll be back in the red zone again. But I think there's a little bit more to a journey of it. It's not a daily, where you're coming in and you got a crisis.
Sean, where are you with the identity of this offensive line yet? Is it where you'd hoped it would?
I like where it's at. Yeah, I like where it's at a lot.
John, about a week ago, you said there were 8 things you had written down about coaching points with your coaches. A week into it, or a week into these bigger, I guess, training camp practices, are there less of those? Are y'all getting more?
No, listen, there's when I watch this tape today, I'm going to make probably 10 notes and then make sure we go through them in the staff meeting. And it could be as like the space of a drill. It could be what we're doing in a drill, or it could be the actual plays in a drill. They're just things you observe during practice that you want changed. Gradually they dissipate or they go, yeah. So I think the tempo and how we're practicing is good. It's good to get back in pads today, and we kind of go from there.